Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. It is so hard to believe that just 2 weeks ago this same area was completely covered with 8 inches of snow, and right now it's probably 64-65 degrees, sunny and absolutely beautiful. Spring has finally arrived. Even though it's bright, sunny, and warm right now, this morning it was 28 degrees. Had a blanket of frost on the ground, so it tells you that spring weather can be very, very extreme. In the evenings it can drop down to below freezing, and in the days be a very pleasant 50s to upper 60s in the temperatures. And that means that as far as sleeping goes, you still have to sleep while you're wild camping, just like you do when it's winter. So today I've decided to do a review on 3 pieces of equipment from Snugpak that I have owned for years, and just simply because of bulk and weight I've gradually moved away from those, but they are still outstanding pieces of equipment on their own right, and I'm going to share them with you today. These are the 3 pieces of equipment I was telling you about. This is Snugpak's hammock insulation equipment. It consists of a hammock cocoon, a hammock under blanket, and a hammock quilt. I purchased these pretty much as soon as they hit the market about 8 years ago. And at the time, I was able to purchase all 3 of these items, including shipping, for about $180. Most of my friends that I wild camped with, they were going with companies like the Hammock Company, places like that that specialize in custom-made ultralight quilts. If you purchased from one of those types of companies for an extreme cold weather combination, under quilt and top quilt, you're looking at close to almost $2,000. Now, if you were to just go with like an under quilt and you were to get the max fill, all the bells and whistles you could possibly get with it, you can get up to almost $1,000 into a single piece of hammock insulation. I, unfortunately, could not afford such luxuries. However, I do have to say that the lightest weight piece of Snugpak hammock insulation weighs about 3 to 4 times the amount of weight than anything you could put together as far as top quilt, bottom quilt. Let's just even throw in a pillow, because there you're talking about ounces, here you're talking about pounds. I mean, a lot of weight. This whole shawarma is absolutely ideal for extreme weather conditions. And it weighs about 9.9 pounds, almost 10 pounds of weight. And as you can see by looking at these, they are not exactly compact. And you can compress these even further, but what you will have is a slightly smaller brick, because they compress and they are very tight, and it does not exactly pack really, really well when you compress it to that degree. Now, as far as taking them out of the bags and having the loft and things like that, you don't really have that much of a problem because it's all synthetic fibers that are in them. A lot of the ultralight, down-filled things, a lot of times when they're highly compressed, you do have to work pretty vigorously to get that loft up. But we're going to hit these one at a time, and at some point I'm going to go ahead and put the specifications, the weight and all that good stuff, the length and everything, probably over one of the pictures that I'm showing, one of the images I'm showing, and during the filming. And that way you have all those specifications. I could probably put them in the description box below as well. And we're going to take them one at a time, and we're going to start off with the Hammock Cacoon. Now, the first piece of insulation I'm going to show you is the Hammock Cacoon, and it's just that. It is literally a sleeping bag that completely covers from end to end your sleeping bag. And I'll go ahead and tell everyone right now that none of this stuff is proprietary. None of it is designed to specifically fit Snugpak hammocks. It will fit just about any hammock system, you know, minus the Hennessy or something like that, a specialized hammock. But a traditional hammock, any hammock will do. This is an extremely huge piece of insulation. It's ginormous, and it's got a zip that runs just shy, you know, about a foot from either end, and there are 2 zip pulls that have a zip pull handle on the interior and the exterior, so you can unzip it from the inside very easily, and you can pull it all the way, both zips, up to your face, zip it all the way up, and if you need a little ventilation, you unzip it just a tiny little bit, you have some airflow there. And the one thing I must caution everyone about is so far, every piece of Snugpak equipment I've run across, I personally feel, and this is my humble opinion, that the zips are inadequate compared to the quality of the rest of the product. I wish they would have probably spent a little bit more on a higher quality zip, because with these, if you're in a hurry and you start to zip too fast, it will get snagged. So you have to be a little bit more careful with these when you're zipping and unzipping them so they don't get snagged. And if you do it too hard and you really get that in there, it's a pain in the patoot to get undone. Like I said, this is a cocoon. However, unlike a caterpillar's cocoon, when they emerge from their cocoon, they come out a beautiful butterfly. Whenever I come out of this, I'm still an ugly old caterpillar. I'll never be a beautiful butterfly. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how this goes on. The exterior fabric is really nice. It's water resistant, as in if there's a mist from a driving rain or something like that, it will resist it a little bit. It will not resist constant streaming, so if you don't put your drip lines on your hammock line, it will soak in. The inside is a very, very nice, soft taffeta, and very comfortable. And even though you don't actually come in physical contact with this, in a pinch, if you needed to use this on the ground, this would make a very comfortable sleeping bag as well. In order to put this on your hammock, just unzip it all the way. And at the ends, at either end, there is a very nice, thick, heavy-duty piece of shock cord, elastic cord, so you can cinch that around either end and tie it off. When I purchased mine, I did not receive any instructions whatsoever. Again, this was very early in the game as far as the product goes. I believe I purchased it the first year that it was on the market. It just goes right through an opening at the end, and there was zero instructions with any of these things. Most of it is a little common sense. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon to figure this out. However, when you look at the under blanket, which I will show you, there is a lot of cordage on that, and it's sort of hard to figure out, on your own exactly what we're supposed to do with all that cordage. And now I know that they do have instructions, so they're available online. You can download a PDF straight from Snugpak. And it shows you what to do with all that cordage, but you'll see that here in just a moment. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this around itself. I like to pucker it up around itself. Tie it off. And then you can use a remainder. I just use a remainder to tie up and around through my cinch buckle, my cam that my hammock straps run through. Just tie a little square knot there. With the shock cord, square knots are very easy to come out when you're untying it. It just holds it into position. As you can see, it goes the entire length of my hammock, which is really nice. And it's a decent sized hammock. I think it's about 10 footer, 9 foot, somewhere around there. But it's definitely not a tiny one. It's not an ultra light, ultra compact. Now, this cocoon system can be used on its own as a very effective piece of insulation. The one thing I have found with this is that because it hangs loose all the way around, and moderate conditions, I'd say even down to 40 degrees, you could sleep somewhat comfortably in here if you're fully clothed, or maybe if you have a little whoopee or something like that in your blanket or your hammock with you. Now, you go ahead and climb in here. Like I said, you can keep it loose if you want to, but you will need to have some type of tension on there in order to have it somewhat go around you. And this is the moment where you really need to be careful with the zips, because this is where you'll get snagged. Now, I am already burning up in this thing. This is so warm and comfortable. Like I said, on its own, this could very easily be a standalone hammock insulation kit. No problem whatsoever. It's nice and warm, it's simple, super easy to put on, and with the exception of the zip, which it's not horrible, but I think it could be better. I would rather pay more for a YKK zip. You know what, maybe about another 10 bucks would be worth it to me to be able to have a zip system that just is much smoother. You don't have to think about it, you don't have to worry about it. This is super comfortable as far as keeping you warm. I don't really know how to adequately describe it, but the loose insulation underneath, none of the draft from the wind is going to affect you whatsoever. The loose quality of this being up off your body is nice, especially being synthetic. A lot of synthetics, when you have those close to your body, in my humble opinion, it causes me to sweat, whereas a natural fiber does not. But this, in my humble opinion, is a winner. It is heavy. It's over 4 pounds, this one piece of equipment. However, if you don't have far to travel, you have a decent sized pack, or you're car camping, it's absolutely fantastic. I was not car camping, and I was not traveling short distances, as in I would say I hiked it 6 miles, the furthest, and yeah, it was not pleasant. However, it's doable. If you're in good shape, it's definitely doable. This is a great source of insulation. For the price, I don't think that you could beat it. Already I've snagged the zip. You know, like I said, the zip is a little bit finicky. Now the next piece of insulation I'm going to show you is the under blanket. I don't know why they don't call it an under quilt. They call it an under blanket. This is for an under blanket, I think it's a little complicated. It has a lot of cordage on it. It has 2, 4, 6 pieces of cordage. Now again, just like the Cocoon, it's made with the same types of fabrics. I'm going to come in a little closer so you can get a close-up view on this material. Try to get it here where you can see it. That's the exterior, that's the water resistant, and this is the taffeta. This is very soft. This is actually pretty soft too, but you can definitely tell the difference in the feel. The exterior fabric feels much more robust, and it feels much more durable. All of the attachments that are on these pieces of equipment. All of the sewing is well done. I don't have problems with the stitching whatsoever. I think that the stitching has been done very well. Now, since I received no instructions whatsoever with this when I received it, I had to sort of figure it out. And what I decided to do is I used the two ends that are actually 4 pieces of cordage. I tie a couple around my sleeping bag to keep it up on there. I tie 2 up around my strap for my hammock, and then these 2, I later found out, go up to the ridge line of your tarp. So I'm just going to put this on real quick. The way I do it. And it's a decent length, excellent size. I mean, you could very easily use this as a camp blanket if you were cot camping or what have you. But it's a decent size blanket on its own, and it could definitely be used as such, especially when the temperature's not tremendously cool and you have a decent insulation between you and the ground. I think it would be plenty fine enough. So with the shock cord extending up to your ridge line, it keeps it up and around your hammock the way it should. There are also adjustment locks for the cordage, just in case you want to make a little more tension in that. You also have small pieces of webbing, so you could very easily anchor that in another way should you desire. You could also tie those together. There are pieces of webbing all down the sides, and you can actually attach those together with little toggles to keep that up and around you. This is particularly useful if you're just using the under blanket. A little toggle in there will hold these things up and around you to keep you better insulated, and it basically works as a less effective cocoon that way. However, you still have pretty decent opening at the foot for draft, also at the head. However, all of those pieces of webbing combined with toggles, you could really feel pretty snug in this. Snugpak, snug. Now, I'm going to go ahead, open this up just a little bit, sit back in, and show you that yes, you can very easily get in both pieces of equipment and still be able to get everything adjusted. And again, you could very easily toggle that up all the way down to give even more insulation. Now, the last piece of insulation that I have from Snugpak is the top quilt. Top quilt, a basic top quilt, not a whole lot fancy, made out of exactly the same materials. And again, if you're vehicle camping, you're going short distances, the quality of product that you have here, the sewing, everything, I personally feel you can't beat the price for what it is. And even in today's prices, which is significantly more than what I paid for it. I originally purchased it from a company called Bear Army Navy Surplus out of Vermont. Unfortunately, they're no longer in business. And but I got a fantastic price on all of them. Again, everything, all three pieces, was right about $180. You have your top section up here, decently wide enough for a top quilt. You have wings that you can tuck around your body to sort of tuck it in, and you have a very nice foot pocket that's good and deep. And this is very warm on its own. Now, if you were going to be utilizing one of these for ground camping, I would probably recommend the under blanket, simply because it's larger. And you can definitely pucker up the toe with all the cordage you get and tie that off to form your own foot box with it. But that would be much better than this. This is an excellent top quilt. And the combination of the under blanket, top quilt, I personally feel you'd be very comfortable down to about 30, 40 degree range. The cocoon on its own, I wouldn't have any problem whatsoever sleeping with this with a whoopee on the inside at maybe 40 degrees, maybe 35, somewhere around there. However, the combination of all three of these pieces of equipment sustained me in negative 18 degrees. 18 degrees below zero. And I was very, very cozy and super comfortable. I was toasty in there. And 100% of all of my friends that I camped with all of their very lightweight, very expensive, very well made, very high quality, very warm bottom quilt, top quilt combos that they have purchased from different custom manufacturers, they all complained that they did get a little cold. Now, they weren't belly aching about it. Now, they were warm enough, which for some people, especially people that are into ultralight camping, wild camping, what have you, warm enough is the best you can really look for, and you're not really searching for comfort. However, having had all three of these items, almost 10 pounds worth of insulation, negative 18 degrees, I was super, super comfortable. I was just sleeping on my base layers, a pair of dry wool socks, and I think maybe at one time I put my sleep cap on, but I had to take it off because it was too warm. And I slept with probably about this much of an opening in my cocoon. That is the full shawarma, and I think it's fantastic. I have not used this very often now. I have a variation of the cocoon manufactured by Outdoor Vitals. It's called a mummy pod, and it's essentially a mummy sleeping bag that has a hole in the head and a hole in the toe for you to run your hammock through. It's super lightweight, it's super warm, and it's super expensive. I think I paid double for that one piece of equipment than I did for all these things. At the time I purchased these, this is literally all I could afford. And I thought I did an amazing job. When I hold the clouds, the super light, wispy weight items that my friends have from Hammock Gear, it's impossible to believe that something that light, that insignificant can be so warm and so comfortable and so expensive. You get what you pay for. You want ultralight gear, really good gear, Hammock Gear Company, and there's many others out there that they do phenomenal work. They make phenomenal products. And when you're looking for something that's very durable, not lightweight, not expensive, but will definitely keep you warm, and I can speak from my own personal experience, these three items together kept me very toasty. Not just warm, not survival warm, but I was incredibly comfortable at -18 below zero Fahrenheit. Any one of these pieces of equipment used by themselves, I think given the proper situation, would work phenomenal. There is absolutely nothing I can say bad about these things because they are what they are. They were made to be what they were made to be. These were not manufactured to be ultra lightweight. These were not manufactured to be high speed and low drag. They're a high quality, rugged piece of equipment, a little on the heavy side, definitely warm enough to do anything you need it to do. And with the three items combined, you could go from a nice summer overnighter with just the underquilt and your clothing, maybe your top quilt, maybe just the cocoon, all the way to extreme cold weather situations. Those are just a few of my thoughts. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed the review. Any excuse to be outside is absolutely fantastic with me, but I did enjoy doing this and pulling this thing out and setting it up again. It's been quite a while since I used it, and I think I'm going to have to specifically do some short hike-in wild camps just so I can use it again. I had forgotten how nice it was and how well made it is, how easily it is to set up, and how inexpensive it is. If you are looking for hammock insulation and you don't mind, pretty excessive weight or bulk for that matter, I think this is a fantastic combo. And of course, you wouldn't have to use these three pieces in combination with one another very frequently. The cocoon very easily could be a go-to, all you need hammock insulation item pretty much for spring and summer and maybe beginning of fall. You combine the top quilt, would definitely add a little bit to it. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I think that the cocoon as an underquilt or an underblanket works every bit as well as the underblanket does. So if you were to just get one of these pieces of equipment, I'd say probably the cocoon would probably be the one item to get. It's fantastic, and I don't personally have any beef with any bit of this trio other than the zipper. Again, I think that the rest of their product is absolutely phenomenal. The manufacturing, the materials they use, it's just those zippers. And every single Snugpak item that I have had a chance to handle or to use, the zipper is always the one weak item on the entire piece of equipment. Well, folks, that is it. I thank you so much for joining me today. And I did find out something when I was looking through my comments, which, by the way, thank you so very much for your comments. I've gotten some absolutely amazing comments that have educated me. I'm certain everybody else that's reading them has gotten a decent education from them. And they've been very helpful to me, and I really enjoy communicating back and forth with like-minded people that enjoy being outdoors, enjoy wild camping, enjoy bushcrafting, and I absolutely have loved the comments. One thing that I found with my YouTube channel is that I was not getting notifications on the replies to my comments. So I figured that out about a week ago, and I tried to get in and go back and review all of the older comments to see if there were any replies to any of the other comments, and I tried to reply to those. And so if you have replied to a comment in videos past and you got no response whatsoever, no likes, no actual written replies, I apologize for that. And like I said, I'm new to this YouTube game, and unfortunately I don't know how all of it works all the time, but I figured that one out, and so I'm going to be much more fastidious in checking for replies to comments, because a lot of them were very pertinent and they were excellent little nibbles for thought, and I don't want to miss any of that. So if by any chance you did reply to a comment and I did not acknowledge it, that is why, and I do apologize for it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you would do that. If you like what's going on the channel, you want to see more of it, go ahead and click that notifications bell. And I get a lot of views. Over the past 28 days, I got nearly 3,000 views. However, you know, not a whole lot of people are subscribing to the channel, and it appears that that's been the trend for the past couple months. So I can't imagine they were, 3,000 separate people each month that's checking out the videos. The subscriptions really help with the algorithms. The likes help with the algorithms, so that way more people can see my videos. If I don't have that, my videos get tucked away in a corner someplace and they just don't get viewed. Those of you that have been viewing and you've been liking, you've been commenting, thank you so much. It really makes it much more enjoyable for me to do that, knowing that there are people out there that appreciate what I'm doing and enjoy what I'm doing, and you're giving me better ideas so I can do all this stuff better. Hey, thanks again so very much, and I'll see you next time.